What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, we're going to be discussing our top 5 do not draft players. So make sure to tune in. If you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe. Give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear in the comment section, do you agree, disagree, along with any other questions you guys might have. Who else is in this do not draft category for you this year? I would love to hear that in the comments section. But with that being said, let's get right into it, and we're going to kick it off. We've got our 2023 fantasy football rankings here pulled up via Fantasy Pros. I'm looking at this from a PPR perspective, but honestly, really, when I talk do not draft players, the format doesn't matter all too much. And look, with all these guys, they're kind of going to be sparsed out throughout. But they're not going to be super late round guys because, with them, when you get to the later rounds, you never really know. These are going to be names that we're very familiar with. And because of maybe injury, because of a change with teams, because teammates have left, things like that, they are no longer in favorable situations. So I would rather pass on them. But with that being said, let's kick it off here, and I'm going to do a little bit of scrolling down to get to our first name. That is Mr. Chris Godwin of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, coming in at number 43. And I'm going to cheat here a little bit. I'm going to put Mike Evans in this group as well. Evans is naturally lower on this list because they are PPR rankings. But honestly, I just want to put both, really all Tampa Bay wide receivers here. And it doesn't have anything to do with their talent. They are all uber talented, but this is a situation where we do not have Tom Brady anymore. We cannot rely on this offense, really, period. And look, to be fair, I trust Chris Godwin more than I do Mike Evans, just because I think he's going to get more volume, but I don't think it's going to be quality volume. That's what I'm worried about. We're going to be in a situation where we have Baker Mayfield as the quarterback for the Bucs. At least that's the expectation. And we've seen Baker Mayfield pretty much flame out with several teams now. The Browns moved on from him. The Panthers, didn't even keep him for a full season. The Rams didn't bring him back. So to me, it's a situation where the Bucs just said, all right, we'll, roll the dice, kind of as a stopgap. After the Tom Brady retirement until we can do something next year. But we saw talented wide receivers struggle with Baker Mayfield, a la DJ Moore, for example. I don't think it's going to be all too much different here. And the fact that there's multiple options, not just one guy to funnel it to, I just think that's also playing into the equation. So to me, gone are the days where Chris Godwin, you plug him in when he's healthy and he's pretty much a PPR stalwart. I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think he should be drafted as a top 20 wide receiver. Now, obviously, here with all of these guys, I'm saying they are do not draft. If they drop like 10 rounds or something like that for some ungodly reason, I understand that there's a draft price where everyone is worth drafting. But we're talking about their current ADPs. We're talking as if, things stand right now. So, don't kill me on that in the comments section. But let's move on here. One spot lower, just one spot at number 44, Deebo Samuel of the San Francisco 49ers. And again, it seems like a very long time ago when Deebo had his breakout year, top 5 type of wide receiver. But since then, look, the 49ers, they brought in Christian McCaffrey, and that takes away a lot of the things that Deebo Samuel did. He was a gadget guy that had a lot of success on the ground. And the 49ers, we saw when Christian McCaffrey came, and then when Elijah Mitchell was healthy as well, didn't utilize Deebo Samuel from that spot as much. He kind of turned into that prototypical more so wide receiver. Now, he'll still be used in that slot, but it won't nearly be as much as, when he broke out 2 years ago. So keep that in mind. And then, if we're talking from a wide receiver perspective, well, look, he's got to contend with the aforementioned Christian McCaffrey, who's, arguably the best pass-catching running back in the NFL. He has to contend with Brendan Ayuk, who I think is a better pass catcher than he is. He has to contend with George Kittle as well. You could argue he is fourth on the pecking order in terms of, pass catchers here, just pure talent-wise, and I think that's the problem. I don't think that, with Brock Purdy, we saw it last year. The guys that he was most comfortable with were Kittle. It wasn't a coincidence that when Purdy became the quarterback, Kittle started to see some of his best production. McCaffrey had a lot of great pass-catching games as well. And then Ayuk kind of outpaced Deebo Samuel. So basically, right now at their current ADPs, I would much, much rather wait a couple of rounds and go with Brendan Ayuk than I would with Deebo Samuel. I just don't think the volume is going to be there. I don't think that the opportunities as a rusher are going to be there. So I just don't see him as a top 20 wide receiver. And this would, essentially be a fourth round selection, let's say. I would much rather pass on Deebo Samuel and go in some other directions, potentially somebody like a Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore, for example. But let's continue on with our third name on this list. And we're going to scroll here to Mr. Javonte Williams of the Denver Broncos. And with Javonte Williams, it's a situation where, again, I like the talent, but I just don't love the injury. And he's coming off a serious injury where it wasn't just an ACL. It was, other areas around there as well. And that's the reason why I just don't think he's going to be his true self right out of the gate here in 2023. And I don't care if he's saying, in random interviews, I feel good. And the team's saying, he's ahead of schedule. That doesn't mean anything until you see game action. Guess what? Guys like Cam Akers, guys like J.K. Dobbins, they all said that as well in years past. And what happened in their first year coming back from serious injuries? Well, they had struggles in terms of volume. They had struggles with cutting, with agility, with acceleration. Basically, they were below average versions of themselves at the most replaceable position, running back. So that combined with guys like Samaje Perine breathing down Javonte Williams' neck, I want nothing to do with Javonte Williams. Maybe you just stash him in the later rounds if he drops and you're like, okay, if he comes back late in the season, I potentially have something. The times when I've been drafting Javonte Williams in drafts are when I've punted on the running back position, kind of gone zero running back type of deal, or where it's a luxury pick and I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe I can convince somebody to trade for him. But I would rather not be in those situations. So for that reason, I am out on Javonte Williams this season. Now, if we're talking 2024, I believe in the talent, but right now it is a different conversation as far as short-term production. Then we have got Dalvin Cook, current free agent, number 4 name on this list. Right now, the probably favorites to land Dalvin Cook are the Miami Dolphins. There has also been rumors about the New York Jets and, probably some dark horse team. But I said this as soon as Dalvin Cook got cut. He is not going to find a better situation than what he had with the Minnesota Vikings. He's somebody that is trending upwards in terms of age, closer to 30 than some people might realize. On top of that, he's had injury issues, a little bit injury prone. And if we look at last year, after week 9, didn't have a single game over 100 yards rushing. That's concerning. Now, some people might say, oh, that's because of the injury. But, I thought he was a little bit too big play dependent last year. I thought he's trending downwards. I personally think his best days are behind him. But look, even if you disagree with that, which is perfectly fine, landing spot matters here, folks. And if he goes to Miami, that's one of the most crowded backfields in the NFL. You've got coaches there that go running back by committee. You added guys that they were familiar with from San Francisco. You added running backs via the draft. Now, if you add Dalvin Cook, I don't care if he's the biggest name. It's not going to go well for him. And I think the problem with Dalvin Cook is that he wants to be paid like a top-notch running back. So he's just going to go where the money is. I think that there were a couple rumors recently that he might not get signed until training camp. So we're still a ways away from that. But as of right now, early July, look, unless there's a big-time running back injury, I don't see Dalvin Cook landing in an advantageous situation. So basically, I am out on Dalvin Cook. And then the final name on our list, I've got Treylon Burks of the Tennessee Titans. You know, kind of hyped up as a rookie to be potentially the A.J. Brown replacement in Tennessee. But, you know, he struggled with health and then just didn't get a lot of opportunities, whether that's just because he wasn't ready, too much pressure, etc. But I think right now the Tennessee Titans are in a situation where they could potentially be one of the teams that's, you know, bottom 10 in the NFL. I don't love the quarterback situation. Ryan Tannehill is somebody that I think is trending downwards. I think his best days are behind him as well. The Titans are a run-first team. Let's not forget that. And speaking of pass catchers in Tennessee, there's some serious rumors that DeAndre Hopkins, another fellow Pro Bowl free agent at the wide receiver position, could be headed to Tennessee. At least it's one of the favorite spots. You know, it's between Tennessee and New England. And if DeAndre Hopkins goes to Tennessee, Treylon Burks truthers are going to be hurting, in my opinion, because, I mean, to begin with, again, the Titans, not pass-heavy offense, but if Hopkins goes there, he is going to be the number one wide receiver. I think that's going to hurt Treylon Burks big time, and I think he's still kind of, you know, feeling out the league. Didn't really show us what we wanted to see his rookie season. So for that reason, I think Treylon Burks is somebody that I'm just purely out on. I understand that he was drafted early last year, but all those situations, run first team, struggling quarterback. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a quarterback change, in fact, on this offense at some point in the year, along with potential addition of a DeAndre Hopkins. Treylon Burks, just no thank you to me. I would rather pass on him and look elsewhere here. But with that, we wrap up our top 5 breakdown of do not draft players for the 2023 fantasy football season. Let us hear in the comment section, did you agree, disagree? Who else would you put on this list and why? Along with any other questions you guys might have, we will do our best to answer them all. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.